Welcome back to the channel, guys. So today I think we have some pretty cool news, and it comes from Nintendo. What? So what do we have here today? Nintendo is finally giving in and eliminating the Nintendo Creators Program. This is awesome because it opens it up and it will benefit so many people, content creators and viewers alike. I have restricted myself from using Nintendo first-party games in any of the content that I do, from projects, from testing products, from reviews, all sorts of things. I've just restricted myself. I won't do Nintendo first-party stuff. Earlier on, when I started YouTube, I joined the Nintendo Creators Program. There was a couple different ways of going about that. You could either monetize your channel through Nintendo, you're a Nintendo partner, or you could do individual videos. That's what I did. If you went to your channel, everything you uploaded, and you agreed to that, it would only be Nintendo content, everything you uploaded, Nintendo would get a cut of your ad revenue. If you did it per video, you were authorized to go ahead and upload videos, but they would have to approve them. They would have to go through a process first. And then they were okay. They weren't copyright claimed from Nintendo. So they're eliminating all that. That at first I was like, what? Are they just saying screw everybody, no Nintendo first party content unless it's like some select group of people? But no, they're just eliminating it and they're opening it up so everybody can share Nintendo first party content. There's some caveats, there's some little guidelines, and we're going to take a look at that in a second. But here's the email that I received. Dear Nintendo Creator, we want to share some news with you. We are ending the Nintendo Creators Program, NCP, to make it easier for you to make and monetize videos. And it's not just about the money, it was more so the principle of Nintendo not wanting to allow people to use footage from their games. We couldn't advertise for Nintendo. That was ridiculous. We couldn't share our opinions of Nintendo games, first-party games, because of their policies. So it wasn't just about money, not for everyone anyway. Your creative freedom kind of got eliminated a little bit because you couldn't use Nintendo stuff unless Nintendo said you were okay to do so. And they could pull you from the program at any time. If they just didn't like who you were or what you were doing, they could eliminate your partnership in that program. But let's continue. So, making it easier to make and monetize videos that contain Nintendo game content. We will no longer ask you to submit videos to the NCP. And you can continue showing your passion for Nintendo as long as you adhere to Nintendo's guidelines. Thank you. We got to see these guidelines though, right? So the NCP will come to a close at the end of December of this year. Please note that we are no longer accepting videos and channels and will not review any content. Blah, 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 blah. They're going to make their final payouts in February to people who were in the program. Okay, great. So the way it worked was you would submit videos, wait for it to be approved, and then put them live on YouTube. So you couldn't do things timely. Essentially, you could, like if you had a schedule, you would have to really plan. But you wouldn't know. Nintendo might take forever to approve your videos, so that kind of sucked. But definitely a step in the right direction, I'm hoping. These guidelines could be crazy though, but I've pulled them up. We need to take a look. So here we go. Guidelines for online video and image sharing platforms. We're going to kind of breeze through some of this because some of it's just like, hey, thanks. Like nobody cares about that. So here are the guidelines. You may monetize your videos and channel using any monetization methods separately specified by Nintendo. So that would be like YouTube, Facebook, stuff like that, Twitch. You're good. So far, so good. Other forms of monetization for commercial purposes are not permitted. So I would think they would mean like, hey, you can't just record a bunch of Nintendo-related content and make a movie out of it, that kind of thing. Makes sense. So far, so good. We encourage you to create videos that include your creative input and commentary. Videos and images that contain mere copies of Nintendo game content without creative input or commentary are not permitted. Fair in my opinion. I see no issue with that. You got to have that creative, juices flowing to manipulate what you're doing. If you're just uploading a trailer copied from Nintendo, that's dumb. You're just uploading a gameplay, have some commentary, do something, right? So that's pretty much what they're saying. Don't just copy their videos and put them up. Make your own, put commentary, that kind of thing. So creative input makes sense. Manipulate it somehow, change it. Don't just re-upload stuff. You may, however, post gameplay videos and screenshots using Nintendo system features such as the capture button on Nintendo Switch without additional input or commentary. Okay, Makes sense. I think, some people might look at this and be like, well, what if I just want to play Super Mario World all the way through and have no commentary and just upload a playthrough? I think this is kind of saying that's not okay, but I don't know that they're necessarily going to jump on that. They probably would, but they're saying have commentary on there. Some kind of, if you're doing a review or talking about the history of Nintendo, it's okay to use these clips. And, that artistic way you have to manipulate things, you have to change it up. Can't just be nothing to it. Like you have to put in work is what they're saying, essentially. That's the way I'm taking it. You are only permitted to use Nintendo game content that has been officially released or from promotional materials officially released by Nintendo, such as trailers or Nintendo Directs. So it sounds like you can do commentary or showcase certain things like, oh, look at this, and talk about it and show a clip from a trailer or from a Nintendo Direct. That's cool. Thanks, Nintendo. If you want to use the intellectual property of a third party, you're responsible for obtaining permissions from them. That's fine. Makes sense. You are not permitted to imply or state that your videos are officially affiliated or sponsored by Nintendo. Makes sense. Even when you're a Nintendo Creators Program, you are not supposed to be like, hey, I'm sponsored by Nintendo, because you weren't. Nintendo was just taking ad revenue from you. That was pretty much it. Like, you weren't really affiliated with them. So it's pretty much the same thing. We reserve the right to remove any content we believe is unlawful, infringing, or inappropriate, or not in line with these guidelines. Infringing or inappropriate. Okay, inappropriate is the key word there. Unlawful or infringing, I get that. Inappropriate, what dictates inappropriate? Isn't that going to be kind of a subjective thing? I mean, blah, blah, blah. A subjective thing there? I don't know. Like, does that mean no Bowsette bent over type of thing? I don't know. Like, I mean, is that inappropriate? Is that Nintendo property? No, not necessarily, but, that's some third-party artistic freedom going on there. But no suggestive things. Like if you want to do, I don't know, man. I don't know what the hell that means. Please understand, we will not be able to respond to individual inquiries regarding these guidelines, okay? And they may update them from time to time. Oh, so they also do have a frequently asked questions section here. I kind of skimmed all the way through just to see how long this article was, but that's cool. They got an FAQ. So let's see what that talks about. What types of content are acceptable under the guidelines? What are not? Okay, so that's important. We encourage you to use Nintendo game content and videos and images that feature your creative input and commentary. Let's plays and video game reviews are within the scope of the guidelines. However, you may not simply upload or live stream an existing Nintendo video gameplay footage without your own creative input or a copy of content created by someone else. For example, mere copies of Nintendo promotional trailers, tournaments, music, soundtracks, gameplay sequences, art collections are outside the scope of the guidelines. Fair enough. So far, I'm not really arguing with much of anything here. I think this is fair so far. Do the guidelines only cover video uploads, or can I live stream? Yes, you can do both. That's fine. Before, it was restricted. If you were a Nintendo Creators Program, you were not allowed to live stream. They had made that change earlier on, I believe this year, if I'm thinking correctly. But they made it you couldn't live stream Nintendo first-party games if you were in a program because they couldn't get your super chats. What? Really? That was pretty much what it was. They couldn't get any ad revenue, or not ad revenue. That wasn't ad revenue. But if you were a kind of streamer who people donate to or do super chats, Nintendo didn't want you using their content because they couldn't get a piece of that super chat. But the person would be giving that super chat to the content creator, right? So why would, that was pretty much the reason why Nintendo couldn't get a piece of it, so they didn't want you doing it. Kind of messed up, right? Let's see, what else? So they're just saying appropriate video and image sharing websites are going to be YouTube, Twitch, Instagram, but not limited to that stuff. What exactly are the monetization methods separately specified by Nintendo? Facebook, their gaming creator program, Twitch, Twitter, YouTube partner program. Okay. Can I sell content that I create and upload? So that would mean you're creating something, that you're selling individually. Is that going to be like, say somebody has a per video Patreon, you're not allowed to do that? Or does that mean like, hey, you can't accumulate a bunch of Nintendo gameplay and comments on it and create a DVD or Blu-ray and sell that as a commercial product? I mean, I guess that's probably what it would mean, or closer to what it means. let's see, what else? Can I create, upload, and live stream that is based on other Nintendo property outside of gameplay footage? Guideline only covers sharing of Nintendo game content or on appropriate video and image sharing sites. Any other use is outside the scope and relevant, is subject to relevant laws. Nintendo cannot provide you legal advice. All right, whatever, dude. What if I record someone playing an unreleased game at a public event, such as a gaming expo? Please keep in mind that most public events have filming guidelines, which is true, and you're responsible to follow those. So as long as they reserve the right to remove any content they believe is unlawful, infringing, or that keyword inappropriate, not in line with the guidelines. The inappropriate thing's really the thing that's catching me here. I'm planning to host a game tournament using Nintendo video games and upload or live stream. Are these subject to the guidelines? Uploading live streaming from a Nintendo authorized or licensed tournament is within the scope of the guidelines. However, hosting a tournament is a separate activity that is outside the scope. So does that mean you want to have a little Smash tournament and you want to live stream it? You have to have Nintendo's approval then? I mean, I'm not too concerned with that, but I'm sure there's going to be some people who are like, what the hell are they talking about? Interesting. Under the guidelines, can corporate entities upload or live stream using Nintendo game content? The guidelines are only applicable to individual consumers using Nintendo game content. All right. Let's see. Will there be cases where Nintendo will remove content from sharing platforms? Yes. We reserve the right to remove any content we believe is unlawful, infringing, or that keyword, inappropriate, not in line with the guidelines. Nintendo may take down videos on behalf of our third-party partners. So like the Pokemon company, I would imagine. What do you mean by content? There we go. This is what I want to know. What do you mean by content that is unlawful, infringing, or inappropriate? Examples of these include, but are not limited to, violates applicable laws, infringes intellectual property rights of Nintendo, and or features pirated Nintendo software. Okay, I see. I see what they're saying there. So be careful how you present your footage, I guess. If you're playing Super Mario World, don't say you're emulating it, because that would be infringing, right? If you're playing it, play it on the original cartridge or through some means that it's available on officially through them. They want to make sure they're making their money. They want to make sure they got theirs, and what you're using is not infringing on that. I understand it. I see, woohoo, I got to turn that off when I'm recording, man. I see ways, just be careful is what I'm saying. I don't want to touch on that too much, but you guys get what that part is. Just don't show ROMs. Don't specify that you're playing a ROM if you're just showcasing footage. I assume that's what it, if you're like, hey, I'm emulating Super Mario World, and maybe Nintendo has some kind of keyword thing that the robots catch that, they could strike you for it. So just be careful with that. I would imagine. Be very careful with that. Definitely, I'm happy that they're going in this direction. Things are looking a lot better for content creators and viewers. This means more content, more varied stuff, different things we can do and showcase. So that means more content for the viewers. Some channels have been really gimped by this, and some couldn't get into the Nintendo Creators Program, so they just wouldn't bother. Step in the right direction. I hope other companies follow suit, like Konami. Oh my God, I have so many copyrights on my channel claims for Konami stuff. God, it's just stupid, but it is what it is. Usually I'm just like, whatever, I don't care. But this is good. Really cool stuff. Really appreciate you guys hanging out with me. This affects all of us, not just content creators, but viewers as well. So I thought it was definitely worth sharing. Smash that like button. Slap the crap out of that notification bell, or if you want, make sweet ass love to it. Either way, I'm fine with it. Just don't let me know what you're doing. Did I tell you to subscribe if you haven't done so already? Because that's pretty important, guys. And with that said, I will catch y'all next time. Peace out, bye-bye, and boom.